Tight end. This is a brutal position right now. We've lost Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, making it even more thin than ever before. So we need your help here, big time Fabs. Who can we start? Who can we trust?
Let's start off with Dalton Schultz. He is back to his 2021 form. His pal Dak Prescott is back. The last 2 games, 30.8 fantasy points. Gotta love it. This week he's got the Vikings. They've allowed the 9th most fantasy points to the tight end position. Schultz will be involved. Get him into your lineups. And then Greg Dulcich. I was wrong about him last week. Hey, when I'm wrong, I will absolutely admit it. He had a stinker last week. But now he's got the Raiders. And their defense is just not very good against tight ends. They've given up at least 9.7 fantasy points to 6 tight ends, including Jeff Swaim, Jordan Akins, and Kylen Granson. Those guys are not elite players in fantasy football, so I think Dulcich is still a top 10 play this week against Las Vegas.
Now here's what's interesting. I'm looking at your sit list here, and even with the thin tight end position, you've got 2 guys that were drafted to be studs. One of them, it makes no sense. The other one was a major force at tight end last year. But you say they can't be trusted.
Kyle Pitts is on this list, and Jen, people probably have to play him. Like, I get it. It's kind of like Najee Harris. Like, you kind of have to play him, but you don't have to like it. He had a bad game last week, 4.8 points against the Panthers. Now he's got the Bears. They've allowed fewer than 9 points per game to tight ends, and just 2 players at the position have scored more than 8.2 fantasy points against Chicago. So Pitts is a risk, and so is Dawson Knox. Understand, he is a startable asset in fantasy. With all the injuries, you may have to go out and start him. I totally understand that. But the Browns have been very tough on tight ends. Just 1 player at that position has scored more than 10 fantasy points against them all season long. So if you start Knox, temper your expectations. I think we're going to say a lot of that this week at tight end because there are just so many injuries across the league.